Good evening. I'm so glad you all are here. It's so good to see you. Rodney will be here in just a bit. As I was telling Dr. Shackleford, we all know he wears many hats, and so he'll be taking one off as he's coming in the parking lot on two wheels, I'm sure. But we can take care of it till he gets here, right? So I'm so glad all of you are here. Why don't we stand as you're able? We're going to sing our call to worship, hymn 602.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me, and all my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You are close like no other. I loved you as a father. I loved you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything, 'cause your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything, 'cause your goodness is running after me. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
So that was definitely played and sang by the heart, from the heart, for sure. I'm sorry, Dr. Shackleford, that you have to follow that now, but... So now I get the privilege of introducing Dr. Bob Shackleford, and we had a nice visit back in Rodney's office a few minutes ago, and I happened to look at my watch, and it was 5:59. I said, oh, we gotta go. But Dr. Shackleford, as we say around here, he has worn many hats as well, but I think his longest wearing hat has been as a pastor and in the ministry. 54 years and running as a pastor, starting in college, and I think that that is wonderful. He now is helping out with Randall and Friends as their pastor. Right now, twice a month, but starting in January, he's agreed to go full-time. Still maybe as an interim, but we'll see, right? So he's also been a military chaplain for 22 and a half years. He was an Air Force chaplain and counselor on the ground during 9/11. So he has definitely seen a lot, done a lot, and we're just so thankful that you're here tonight to share with us. He now lives in Randleman, so not too far. So please help us welcome Dr. Bob Shackleford.
Thank you so much. It is wonderful to be here tonight. I appreciate the invitation so very much. And to be here, Laura, I'd love to hear you sing. Former Miss Archdale, she still got it. That's great, great music you shared with us and from the heart. And David, thank you as well. It's good to be here with some new faces, some old faces. I preached here at Archdale Friends several years ago, and I remember being here and how much I enjoyed the fellowship that Sunday. And to be here tonight with my friend Alvin Battle and his beautiful bride, and Fred Meredith, former board chair, and Diane, and of course Lori and Bobby. It's just great to be with you this evening. I'm honored and I'm blessed. You know, when I was a little boy, and I'd go to church and I'd listen to sermons, and I was trying to formulate in my young, immature mind what being a Christian was about. And the best I could figure out early on was it was about keeping the rules. There are a lot of rules. I remember the old saying, I don't smoke and I don't chew and I don't go with girls who do. So that's how you got to heaven, see? It's all about the rules. And but I came to understand it better as I got older and understood that it's not about the rules. It's about a relationship. It's about a relationship. And they were trying to trick Jesus, asking him questions about the rules, about the laws. They're always asking him trick questions. So they asked him, this is in Matthew 22, verses 36 through 38. In Matthew 22, teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Now that sounds like a simple question, but an honest question, but it wasn't an honest question. It was a trick. Because whatever commandment he said was the greatest, they would say, well, he doesn't believe this commandment's important. He didn't name that one. That one's not important. And so it was a trick. Which one do you think is the greatest so we can accuse you of minimizing the others? And Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And then he went on to say, and the second is love your neighbor as yourself. You see what he did, they were trying to trick him, but the trick was on them, because when he said, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself, that was all the laws. He didn't really pick one. That was all the laws. What law in the Bible is not about either loving God or loving one another? That is the law. Teacher, which is the greatest law? All of them. Love the Lord your God and love one another with all your heart. If you do that, you haven't broken the law. So it's not really about rules after all. It's about the heart. Love the Lord. Love the Lord. But you see, it's easier to give all else but the heart. It's easier to give our attendance. It's easier to give our talents. It's easier to give our offerings, our obedience, our service. And he said, well, I appreciate your attendance and your talents and your offerings. I appreciate your obedience and your service, but all that's not sufficient. The greatest commandment is to love the Lord. To love the Lord with all your heart and all your soul and with all your mind. When the men watched the Pharisee come by and put his offering in, and it was an abundant, generous offering, and they smiled and nodded. And then the widow came by and she put in 2 little coins, 2 little mites, worth less than a penny. And they snickered at her. Look at that. That's the best she can do for the Lord. And Jesus said, which of those offerings is the one that pleased God? The one that was given from the wallet or the one that was given from the heart? It was the one given from the heart, because the first and greatest commandment is love the Lord your God with all your heart. Now, back to the days of the Old Testament, when worship services weren't about just the reading of scriptures and the beautiful music and the preaching of sermons, it was about sacrifices. And you had to offer a sacrifice for your sins, and people brought in the lambs and the goats and the sheep, and the priests, they would slay the lamb and spill the blood on the altar and burn the burnt offering in atonement for their sins. And people would go out and live like they wanted to and come in on the Lord's Day and bring that unblemished lamb and offer and say, now my sins are cleansed. Cleansed by the blood, cleansed by the blood. And in that very environment, the prophet Hosea, a powerful verse, Hosea 6:6. And Hosea said, quoting the Lord, "For I desire steadfast love and not sacrifice, the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings." If you've got to bring me either a sacrificial lamb or your heartfelt love, set the lamb aside and love me. If you've got to bring me either a burnt offering or knowledge of my relationship with you, put the offering aside. For I desire steadfast love and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings. How many times does the Bible say it? The greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart. No matter what else you do, I would rather you love me. You know, when there at the end of Jesus' earthly life in the flesh, and Jesus said, one of you will betray me. And Peter said, I won't. If all the others deny you, I will never deny you. You can count on me. I'm your man. And 3 times that very night when they arrested Jesus, 3 times, a woman by the fire said, weren't you with him? Weren't you with the man they've arrested there? Weren't you with him? I don't know the man. No, I wasn't. No. 3 times he denied him. And imagine the shame he felt as Jesus was crucified. And they took him and laid him in a borrowed grave. And how must he have felt 3 days later when he's out in a boat with the disciples, and they're coming into the shore. As they come into the shore, Jesus walks up to meet them. You see, he told the women when he came out of the grave, he told the women who came who saw him resurrected, he said, go tell the disciples I want to see them, and tell Peter too. Why did he say tell Peter too? It didn't say tell Matthew, tell Simon, tell Peter to come too. Because he'll think I don't want to see him because he denied me. He thinks he's disqualified as a disciple now. He denied me. Please tell the disciples I want to see them, and tell Peter to come too. And when Peter saw him and in the boat, he jumped out of the boat and rushed through the surf to meet him on the beach. Can you imagine how he felt when he looked in Jesus' eyes after having denied him 3 times? After pledging his loyalty, he failed him. Can you imagine how he felt when he heard Jesus said, Peter, you come too? And he meets him there on the beach. Can you imagine him falling down and crying and wrapping his arms around his legs, saying, oh, God, forgive me. Oh, Jesus, forgive me. Well, what did Jesus say to him? In that moment, after his failure of his devotion, what did Jesus say to him there on that beach after the resurrection? Did he say, Peter, what have you done? Peter, I thought you weren't going to deny me. Peter, you're no better than the others. Peter, you know what he said? There he is on the beach, Peter sobbing at his feet. And he lifts him up and looks in his eyes and says, "Do you love me?" And you can see Peter hang his head and say, "Lord, you know I love you." But if Jesus left it at that, I only got to tell him I loved him once, but I denied him 3 times. But no, Jesus asked him a second time, "Simon, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord, I love you. You know I love you." "Then feed my sheep." And a third time, as he denied him 3 times, a third time, "Simon, do you love me?" That's all he asked him about. He didn't ask, "Why did you fail me? Where was your faith? Why were you so weak?" All he needed to know, "Simon, do you love me?" Now think about this. This is on the eve. Jesus has been here working his miracles and doing his thing, and he's getting ready to ascend to the Father. But he's got something very, very important to do before he leaves. He's got to establish his church. It's the church that's going to be established to do the work that Jesus himself was doing in the flesh. He's getting ready to start the church, and he's going to build it. He wants to build the church on Peter. He wants Peter to be the great evangelist of the day of Pentecost. He wants Peter to be the one. He wants to say to him, "You're Peter, the rock, and on this rock I will build my church." But Peter just denied him. And before he can hand him the task of building his church to carry on his work, he looks him in the eyes on that beach in the shadow of his denial. He says, "Peter, all I need to know whether to give you the responsibility to build my church. All I need to know, I don't need your resume, I don't need your promises. Do you love me?" "Lord, you know I love you. Then feed my sheep. On this rock I will build my church." You know, in the 2nd and 3rd chapter of the book of Revelation, that's a collection of letters that Jesus wrote. Letters he wrote to the 7 churches in Asia at the time. And the very first letter he wrote to the church at Ephesus, the 2nd chapter of Revelation. And here's what Revelation 2, verses 1 through 4 says. "To the angel of the church in Ephesus write, these are the words of him who holds the 7 stars in his right hand and walks among the 7 golden lampstands. I know your deeds." Now this is Jesus talking to the church. These are good words. "I know your deeds. I know your hard work and your perseverance. I know that you cannot tolerate wicked people, that you have tested those who claim to be apostles but are not and have found them false. You have persevered. You have endured hardships for my name and have not grown weary." That is a wonderful recommendation to a church from Jesus himself. Imagine if Jesus could say to a church today, "I know your deeds. I know your hard work. I know your perseverance. I know you don't tolerate wicked people. I know you don't listen to false teaching. You have persevered. You've endured hardships in my name. You've not grown weary. Blessed are you. I know you. And I know what a wonderful church you are." That's what he says to Ephesus. And then he ends that letter, "Yet I hold this against you. You have forsaken the love you had at first." You don't tolerate wicked people. You don't listen to false teaching. You persevere. You've not grown weary. But you have forsaken the love you had at first. "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law?" "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. I've done probably 200 or so weddings in my ministry. I was in Wilmington a couple of weeks ago doing a wedding. I really loved being there and doing it. It was for my chaplain assistant, all those years in the military, right by my side. Right-hand man, Jeff, and I, we've been all over the world together. He was with me at the Pentagon after 9/11. He was with me in France after all the terrorist attacks. He was with me in Germany. He's been with me everywhere. And Jeff and I are like brothers. We spent 22 years together in ministry as chaplain and chaplain assistant. And I watched Jeff's children go up from this big, and his daughter got married a couple weeks ago. And she didn't want her father to do the wedding. She wanted her father to walk her down the aisle and ask me to do the wedding. And it was just such a special time to be there with them during that very beautiful special occasion. But now let me tell you about the weddings that I do. I've never heard, and I did not hear at this wedding, I did not say, now Brandon, do you promise to love, honor, and cherish Michaela for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, till death do you part? And he did not look at me and say, well, no, I don't know about all that, but I'll mow the grass. Well, I don't know. I'll be sure to keep the car up. And, well, what else do I need to do? No. I said, Michaela, do you promise to love, honor, and cherish Brandon? For better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, till death do you part? Do you so promise? And Michaela did not look at me and said, well, I don't know if I'll go that far, but I'll do the dishes. I'll cook. I'll make the bed after we get up. Let's just call it a marriage. I do. That would never suffice. Who would get married? Someone say, well, I don't know. I'm not. That's a lot harder to give. My total devotion is harder to give than just let me do the things I need to do to call it a marriage. Okay? What is the greatest commandment? Oh, go to church. Tithe. Do this, do that, do the other. The greatest commandment, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and with all your mind. Do y'all remember the play, the movie? Have you seen the play, The Fiddler on the Roof? What a beautiful story. What a wonderful story. That story, just reminds you about the story itself. It takes place in Russia over 100 years ago. And it's during the time of the Bolshevik Revolution when the Communist Party is getting ready to take over and they're getting ready to wipe out the Tsar and take over. And things are changing in Russia. And they've had a beautiful, simple life, these farmers like Tevye and Goldie. Tevye is the main character in the story. Tevye is a dairy farmer. And they have 3 beautiful daughters. And the daughters are just starting to grow up. And these live this wonderful life on the farm with his family, and it's all about tradition. The beautiful traditions that we've grown up in, and now there's soldiers in the street, there's rumbling going on, overthrow, politics. The world is changing, and he's grieving because the world is changing, and I love it the way it's been. Tradition. That's what the play Fiddler on the Roof is about. And they are watching when their oldest daughter gets married, Hodel. Hodel is getting married. And all the children are dancing around a fire outside. And all the wedding parties out there and clapping. And Tevier steps up to Goldie, his wife. And all the watching the children grow up, he's got something on his mind. I'm going to do both parts, so you hang on, okay? This is Tevier talking to Goldie. He's looking at Hodel out there dancing with the young groom that she's just married. He says, he's a good man, Goldie. I like him. And what's more important, Hodel likes him. Hodel loves him. So what can we do? It's a new world. A new world. Love, Goldie. Goldie, do you love me? Do I what? Do you love me? Do I love you? With our daughters getting married, this trouble in the town, you're upset, you're worn out, go inside, go lie down, maybe it's indigestion. Goldie, I'm asking you a question. Do you love me? You're a fool. I know, but do you love me? Do I love you? For 25 years, I've washed your clothes, cooked your meals, cleaned your house, given you children, milked the cow. After 25 years, why talk about love right now? Goldie, the first time I met you was on our wedding day. I was scared. I was shy. I was nervous. So was I. But my father and mother said we'd learn to love each other. And now I'm asking, Goldie, do you love me? I'm your wife. I know. But do you love me? Do I love him? For 25 years, I've lived with him, fought with him, starved with him. 25 years, my bed is his. If that's not love, then what is? Then you love me? I suppose I do. Well, then I suppose I love you too. It doesn't change a thing, but even so, after 25 years, it's nice to know. When we breathe our last breath and stand before God, He's not going to check our church membership or our attendance records. He's not going to check the Sunday School Perfect Attendance badges or our Vacation Bible School certificates or the amount of money we gave. He's not going to count the number of prayers we said or whether or not we taught Sunday school or sang in the choir, how many times we read the Bible through, whether or not we sang out in church when they sang the hymns or any other such things. He does not want religion instead of personal relationship. He does not want church attendance instead of heartfelt devotion. He does not want tithes and offerings instead of Him being our first love. He does not want the church things we do instead of giving Him our hearts. He will look us in the eyes like He did Simon Peter on the beach. And He will say to us, as we stand there like Peter did in all his shame and embarrassment, when I stand before Him, He's going to look me in the eyes and He's going to say, Bob, do you love me? And a meaningless, trivial yes won't mean anything on that day. I pray when that day comes, there'll be some evidence in life, the life that I've lived, that I can say to Him with conviction and sincerity, Lord, I love you with all my heart and all my soul and all my mind. I love that last verse of the beautiful hymn, When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. And the author is saying, Lord, what can I give you for all you've done for me? What can I give you? And he says, were the whole realm of nature mine, if I owned everything in nature, if I owned the beautiful wildflowers on the mountainside and all the beautiful animals and babies and rainbows and flowers, if I owned all of creation, were the whole realm of nature mine, that were a present far too small. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my life, my soul, my all. What is the greatest commandment? Love the Lord with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. Amen.
We'll now have a time of open worship. If all minds and hearts are at ease, I would like to offer a prayer before we leave. Dear Jesus, we do love you, and we're so thankful for your love. Thank you for the last 2 nights of our renewal service. Thank you for Mr. Battle and Dr. Shackleford and the love and energy that they've put into their messages, the message that you gave them. We're so thankful for these 2 men that have your spirit and that just want to follow you. Thank you for what they mean in our community. And thank you for now what they mean to Archdale Friends. Thank you for the love that Archdale Friends has for one another and for our community. And I pray that moving forward this week, that everything we do would honor you. All these things we lift up in your precious and holy name. Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Shackleford. What a wonderful message tonight. And Alvin and Annette, thank you so much for being here. It was great to have you last night and for you to come and support us tonight. Thank you all, and I guess oh, hey, Rod. There's Rodney in the back. He's wearing his volleyball gear, so he'll just wave at me. How did I do? Okay, good. So thank you all, and be safe, and we'll see you Sunday.